Welcome back to Little Wheels, Big Feels, the only podcast dedicated to people racing tiny cars that are emotionally unstable.
The cars or the people?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. I thought you were going to say, and I quote, the only podcast that matters.
Oh.
Accurate.
Okay.
My,
All right.
my emotions clearly have the wrong tires on too.
The Joe Roganers would be pissed.
Why? They're fine. They're fine.
How's everyone doing this week?
Man, it's hot this week, wasn't it? I don't know. I felt like I was melting. I've
was
been
warm.
outside like multiple days.
It's getting hot out for sure.
Yeah.
Just in time for the state to burn down with rogue firework.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I mean,
That's the thing,
Utah is currently all on fire right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the smoke in the mountains is pretty epic. It's all blowing in. We were happy to get out of there today.
I feel you.
Yeah, I bet.
Well,
not a good year for illegal fireworks from Wyoming.
we do have a first for the Little Wheels, Big Feels podcast.
What's that?
A fan asked a question.
What?
Wait,
Yeah.
we have fans?
Are you serious?
Did
Wait,
say,
listen to this?
Did you
wait,
say
wait,
a
did you-
fan or the fan?
Whoa. Did you
Hey, fan.
pay this fan to ask the question? That's what I want to know to start off.
My mom asked if you guys want dinner next Friday.
Tell her yes.
Absolutely.
That's funny. All right, let's hear this big question from the fan.
So we had a fan ask us, when is it the right time to move up to the next class? And I'll give my perspective, and then we can dive in. I moved up in Mini-Z really fast because we were a pretty large group at Hobbytown Littleton. And I want to say in the first month I went, I won box stock like 3 times. So I bought a chassis and went up to stock pretty much as quickly as I could. And from there, I started winning stock in probably about 6-8 weeks, pretty consistently. So I went up to super stock, and that's kind of when I met Johnny and Corey and Victor and all the guys we hang out with. And they all ran mod. So before I was even any good at super, I had a mod car because that's what my friends raced. So I went up really fast and probably ruined a lot of races for Victor, Corey. Caused a lot of drama at a couple bigger races with my not knowing how to drive ass. So probably too quickly in the mod, but every time I got consistently first, second, third, I tried to move up because I think it's just good for the hobby. If you're on the podium every week, you're taking that away from like a small group. If someone's fourth every week, I could see that being frustrating, and I didn't ever want to scare anybody off. So I moved up quick every time I started winning and ended up in super stock and mod, and there's not much past. That's what I did.
My opinion is it's a tricky thing. I think people want to move up really fast. I think it's kind of twofold, right? A lot of times they are addicted to the speed, right? If you ask anybody outside of RC, literally the first question they ask you is how fast does that thing go, right? People are just so speed conscious, and I think it's fine. It doesn't really bother me. But here's the problem. The problem is that you've got 4, 5, 6 other people in that same class competing within tenths or less, and you not and let's say somebody new, and it takes time to come up to speed, but it's really hard for those other 5 or 6 people to compete. We all spend, let's say, lots of money, and we spend lots of time, and we try to go fast. But then when there's somebody in the mix that is, we'll say, a challenge, it affects racing for everybody. And I think that's the big thing. My advice to newcomers is always like this. You'll know when you're ready, and don't push too fast, because if you don't build a foundation of capabilities, a foundation of knowledge, a foundation of driving in different scenarios, you're probably not ready. I mean, to be honest, especially to get to like the super stock. I think the gap between box stock and stock is a lot smaller than the gap between stock and super stock, as an example, because man, the super stock cars are fast. And then to go to mod is just like bananas. The cars are ridiculous. Let's be honest, they're way too fast. I mean, if we're just all being honest about it. And so honestly, I think that stock, I'm actually surprised stock is not a bigger class at our club. Like, it seems like people just want to run box stock and then go directly to super stock. And I'm like, I want to build a stock car because I think that speed is a really good speed for people to learn. And everybody just wants to go right past it because they want to race with their friends, or they see people going fast and they want to go fast too. But man, I will say, here's my last piece of advice, and I'll shut up. But is honestly, this whole process of progression in the hobby takes a very long time. And I know it's not good to say, but the reality of it is very few people enter into RC and move up maybe at the pace even Tim moved up at. Because to be honest with you, it's really hard, because at some point it's not about, like gaining seconds per lap. It's about doing it consistently within 1/10 of what the last lap was. And so that's where it gets really tricky. So I'll stop there. But I mean, I think my thought about it is be patient. There's plenty of time for you to learn how to go fast with an RC car. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be careful not to gatekeep. If somebody's having fun in the class they're running in, like, don't make them feel guilty for having a good time and having fun and being competitive, because, like, people are going to come up to super stock and they're going to get smashed most likely for months or years or maybe forever, and they're going to lose interest eventually and leave. I've seen, as a pretty decent stock racer in 10 scale, and I'm trying to put it together now on 28 scale. Like, I've seen so many people come and go where they want to like move up to that class, or they want to try to compete with that class, and they just get obliterated week after week after week, and then they disappear. And I mean, it's not lost on me that since a lot of us started running super stock, even in 28 scale, that class is emptied out largely, with just a few of us in there. And I think we've talked before, like, we feel kind of bad about that situation. So, like, it's hard enough to get people hooked and get them to stay. So, like, if they're having a good time, like, maybe just leave them alone and let them have a good time. Really. And like, if it really becomes a problem that they're just crushing souls in box stock or whatever, like, maybe that's okay, or maybe at some point, like, they'll get the hint or whatever. But I mean, like, it's also nice for people to have a faster rabbit to chase. Like, the people with the right mindset will appreciate having someone to chase. But like, man, some of these, the difference in prep that you have to do to get to the level of being, at super stock. Like, I mean, I have to work on my car hours per week to have it ready for race day. Like, it's not just going to the track and showing up and racing. Like, if I don't work on my car, if my tires aren't right, like, I'm not going to be competitive. My car is terrible. And like, that's a grind. Like, you have to really love this. Man, let those people have fun. If they're really gonna be that good and work their way up, then they'll know when it's time. Um, that's kind of my approach. I mean, this topic has come up so many times through the years, and we just end up running people off, or making them move up too fast. So. That's
Mm.
fine.
I just want to add on top because I had a thought while you were talking. One of the things that's important is this, the people that are part of the community. It's kind of our job to help people be in the right classes. And I know that sounds weird, but like a lot of times people in off-road will come to me as an example and say, "Hey, I'm ready to start running 17.5." And I'll have to give them some perspective, which is, all right, are you consistently winning, or do you feel like you've topped out on talent? Do you feel like you're really ready to move? And when I think you start to like really have an honest conversation with people, I think it unfolds in front of them, right? When they actually like verbalize, like, yeah, I'm ready to go to mod 128 scale. I'm like, really? Are you really? I'm not saying you're not, but like, think about what you're saying and like, think about the perspective. Like, I think it's funny because at our track, everybody calls us the sweat class, right? It's super sweaty and blah, blah, blah. That's not what this is. This is what competitive racing looks like. And I got to tell you, like, this is just what comes with the territory. So you can't be, working on your car every now and then, running tires you took out of somebody else's bag, and running. You just can't do it at some point in some of these classes. They're just so competitive, and the talent is so good, and the preparation is so strong that your casualness about racing is going to not work in that class, I guess is what I would say.
So I'll give you two answers. One will be like how I would do it if it was me. If I could go back 5 years or 4 years and tell myself, hey, now you're ready to move up. And then my just opinion on when people should move up. So to me, if I go back and give myself advice, it would be when I can drive the current class on mat for 5 minutes without crashing with high 80s to low 90s consistency. That would be my line for being able to, hey, you can probably start thinking about going into the next class. Now, as a racer, I think if you want to move up, you should move up. There's no reason why we should not allow people to move up. Now, with that, I think it's our responsibility as leaders, especially at our club, and to make sure that we make it available and people are able to move up without sacrificing anything. So, like, if we have a group of guys that want to come up into the sweat division, we need to try and encourage more people to come so that you can have a B sort, so that the sweats can run in the A and have a good competitive race, and the guys that are coming up and learning can learn how to set up a car properly, learn what that setup window really is, ask questions of the other guys, and get used to the faster speed. And I think that's what keeps this hobby alive and keeps the growth coming. I'm scared to death if we start, and not that anyone said it, but if we don't encourage people to move up and advance and improve and try new things, that this is all just going to kind of fizzle and die. So, like, when people ask move up, if I'm ready to move up, I would say if you want like an engineering technical numbers thing, if you're running high 80s, low 90s consistency, and you can go 5 minutes without crashing, you probably should start thinking about moving up to the next class if you want to. Otherwise, if you want to, do it. You're not going to learn by running box stock how to set up a lipo car. You're not going to learn how to handle the speed in super stock by running stock cars. You're just not going to. You got to get out there and do it, and the rest of the drivers are going to have to deal with it. Now, like I said, if we had a group of guys that wanted to come up in the sweat division, I personally would try to get a bunch of them so that we can have a B sort. So there's 5 running in the A and 5 running in the B, and it's good for everyone.
Yep. And what I'll say is I didn't get really good at Superstock until I ran mod. I ran mod for probably about 6 months before I won a Superstock race. And it's everything I learned about setup and mod went right back into Superstock, and I finally got on pace with the super fast guys in that class. So I had to skip a couple steps to figure out what I was missing in the other car. And I think that's a really good opportunity for some people like my dad, where he can put down a consistent car every week, but he doesn't really know what he's looking for to get it faster. So what I've had him do before is, here's a car that's way too fast for you. What would you change in it? And let's go do that to this other car. And we kind of reversed engineered the intuition into the car. Make the problem worse so it really stands out. Because sometimes you don't feel the little things in a slower car like a stock car. I don't know if you guys remember a couple months ago, I ran a car with a bent chassis in stock and beat Evan by like 4 laps. I couldn't feel the bend in the chassis in stock, put a 3500 in it, undrivable. So sometimes making the problem worse, you could really feel it helps your troubleshooting acumen.
Yeah, I mean, speed will expose all of your shortcomings in setup, car prep, driving. You know, your like everything. Like it makes everything a lot more obvious. And to some extent, maybe you have to go faster to realize the importance of car prep and making things consistent week to week. Like if you can get away with not doing that stuff in slower classes, for one, that sounds way more chill than what I'm doing. but I mean that there's a good point there, right? Like sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't know how bad your car prep is because it's going slow enough that it doesn't matter, or the competition's not high enough that it doesn't matter. And so sometimes those things can expose the problems and the things you need to work on.
I mean, to your point, just simple stuff like tape versus glue on tires. I mean, you can get away with tape tires on stock and be competitive. May not win it, but could be competitive. And then you go to 3,500, ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean it's I think it's even worse than that in a lot of regards, because if I think about how good my tires have to be in 3,500 to be competitive, and then I can take tires that are kind of trash and put them on a stock car and be wicked fast with them, right? It's like everything just multiplies as you move up, right? I mean, I think, you know, the bent chassis is a good example. Tires are a good example. All of these things get multiplied. And so I guess my only caution that I was trying to talk about earlier was like, don't try to go too fast, because you'll end up going backwards. And it wastes a lot of your time. Like there's a natural progression to this, right? Like in on-road, there's natural progression. In off-road, there's natural progression. Mini Z is the same way. And what's actually great about Mini Z is that you actually have a box stock class to start in. That's so beneficial because there's not a lot of things you can change. You're not overwhelmed by too much stuff. And like even in on-road and off-road and all these other things, they're still full race kits for the most part. They're still complicated. There's still 1,000 settings you can put on the cars. Box stock's not like that. And that's a huge advantage for Mini Z, is that it literally is a very stock car that you have to learn how to drive around the track. And once you can do that effectively, then I think, you know, to Johnny's point and others, you know, it's time to move up the chain. But, you know, going from, I think where I get cautioned, where I want to caution people is going from box stock to like skipping stock and just like going to super stock. That's a bad idea. I will tell you.
Agreed.
Don't do that, Ed.
Art and I have this conversation a lot, especially through the years, but the better you get and the more you move up, the harder it gets to have fun. So like, so, you know, right now we're having a great time because everything's new and we're learning a lot, and it's kind of like the honeymoon period. But like once you figure out all the stuff and you kind of like are into the real grind of it, like you have to work really hard to have a good time sometimes. And I see how much fun people have in like stock and super stock and F1, and it's all good drivers. People are doing great, and they're getting better, and you see improvement week to week, and they're smiling and they're laughing, and there's jokes or whatever. Like I don't feel like any of us are joking around in 3,500. I feel like we're all like ready.
That's why we're the
We're
split
like
division, bro.
good race, and I'm like, yeah, good race. Fuck you. I'm
We
like-
do our podium pictures every week, and box stock
Everybody's
all
just
smiling,
angry.
stock all smiling, F1 all smiling, super stock, sweat pouring, and grimaces.
Yeah.
It looks like you just
So much
spent the week
attachment, so
constipated.
much grasping, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens as you move up, right?
Is
You
that
begin
what
to
you want from
grasp.
your free time and your disposable income? Is
Yeah,
that really what you want?
I mean, I think we're not trying. Look, I'm not trying to caution anybody, although I am. But at the same time, do what you want to do, right? There's no rules to how you move up and at what pace you move up. All I'm saying is there is a natural line of progression that really works, and if you follow it, you will get faster, way faster, if you follow the steps. If you try to skip, it's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you energy, and a lot of times I don't know, your
sanity.
mental whereabouts honestly become a bit of an issue as you move up too fast. I mean, I've seen it before. I mean, I've done it before. I'm guilty of that. Like, I mean, I started Mini Z in modified. I mean, what was I even thinking? Right? Like, that was the dumbest idea ever. But like,
one race, and I was like, nope, that's too hard.
yeah, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever come up with. But like, I was borrowing a car. I didn't know anything about the motors. I knew nothing about it. All I know is that like I was on a loaner program with a mod car. I'm like, all right, let's just do it. Now I've got enough experience that I can, kind of tap into that to try to help me, but like it was a terrible idea. I should have never done it, but that's what happened. So, yeah.
And I believe you made the A at Worlds.
Yeah, but that I mean, it's fine. But like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, in super stock I got no, but that was a weird super stock because it's a PN super stock. So it's like, it's not like what we race now. Super stock, what we race now with Lexan, 3500 Blinky, man, it is such a cream pie class, man. It is so good. It's everything that mod wishes it was, I gotta tell you. And I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying, like, the cars are drivable. They're fast as, they're fast. I'll be politically correct. That you got to get into setup, you got to get into body dynamics, you got to get into tire preparation. It does everything that mod does without the stupid speed of modified. That's my opinion on it.
Well, if I'm gonna do all of that stuff, I better be going stupid fucking fast.
Well, 3500
That's why I run mod.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. I mean, for me, like, I guess maybe I'm too old. Jim, you're old. Like, how's 3,500 for you, buddy? It's
Hey,
hard,
be
isn't it?
nice.
I am being nice. We're old
It's
people,
hard.
dude.
I did
Adam-
it for a couple of weeks. I struggled at it. Then I went back to stock. Stock is fast too.
It is.
It
I
is.
know it has a hard shell on it. Wish was a Lexan shell on it, but
Yeah, but the thing is,
is
like,
what it
even the
is.
2,500 motors now are so fast because, of all the timing and stuff we've talked about in the past, that even the 2,500 from a year ago is completely different speed, right?
Johnny
So,
and I
like,
came up.
yeah,
The stock
Yes.
cars now would beat the 3,500s of yesteryear.
right. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing when you talk about moving up. That's another thing everybody's got to take into consideration. Like, going from box stock to an MWX 2,500, or whatever, like, that's a big jump in power, like, huge jump in power. That's the other thing that's why I caution people to go slow, because the slower you go up the chain, the faster you're going to learn. I know that sounds very counterintuitive, but it is actually, in my experience, 100% the truth.
And I'll give.
I never ran box stock. I went straight into the pan the 3500 AAAs. Did that for a couple races, and I went into lipo.
Yeah, but Jim, you have a lot of experience with 12 scale and 10th scale and all kinds of different things. So like, it didn't
Yeah.
feel weird to you to work on, a modern 128 scale pan car, right? I mean, so you have experience, it's just a little bit
Right.
smaller. People that are coming from box stock, that's a whole different world, man. There's like shocks and things and dampeners and like all kinds of stuff in there that a lot of people don't have experience with. And
I mean, sorry, Art. I was gonna
No.
say, yeah, you're spot on because I hadn't done any racing before Mini Z and bought the box stock and drove it and enjoyed it and then got my first lipo car. And all of a sudden, there's all this setup stuff that you have no clue about. Not
Yeah.
a damn clue. Trying to figure out even simple things like how to build the car. You have no idea how to do any of that, how to get your electronics just in the car and running. That's a whole skill in itself. And then you start talking about setup, and you build this car, you spend $400 or $500, whatever it is, on it, and then it's undrivable, and you have no idea why. And you're new to the sport, you're racing, whatever, and scared to talk to people. You don't want to go ask people because you see them working on their stuff, and you don't know anyone, and it's very intimidating to make those steps up and to do it. But I mean, Victor was kind enough to take me under his wing. Corey gave me a ton of help coming up. And, basically they give me one thing a week. Hey, you're going to learn about front droop. Just, this is how you set it. This is what it does. Go play with it. Spend that whole race night just dicking around with front droop. And just
yeah, I mean, like
I've got
a lot of years of experience racing, but like I don't know anything about. I mean, when I first started, I didn't know anything about 128 scale. So like, I had to lean on you guys, right? But I've been racing long enough to know if you don't ask, you're not going to get help. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Like very few people in RC will be like, "Hey, Johnny, looks like you're struggling, buddy. How can I help you get faster so that you're more my competition moving forward?" A lot of people just don't want to do that. And so I know it's difficult to bridge those subjects with people that feel intimidating, but I got to tell you, I would say 95% of people in RC will help. It's just a matter of you asking, because a lot of times people don't want to suggest things because it could be offensive, right? Like if I go up to somebody and say, "Hey, I looks like you're struggling out there. Can I help you?" They could get pissed off about that, right?
Mhm.
But like, if on the flip side, if they come to me and say, "Hey, can you drive my car?" That's always where it starts. That I'm going to tell everybody out there. If you want feedback and you want help, just ask somebody faster to drive your car. Because as soon as that, you don't even have to have a good personality. You don't have to know anything about the car. All you have to do is say, "Can you drive my car?" And as soon as that happens, that opens up the conversation, because all of us want to provide feedback. We want to help. We want to, and I do it all the time. I'm like, "Johnny, drive my car. Why does it suck?" And then like, he'll take it and drive it and then fix it for me. And then I will, go faster. I mean, that's just how it works, man. You got to use the community that you have. I mean, you have to.
Yep.
And if you have a shit community, email us. We're going to start answering community questions.
We absolutely are. That's the role. That's the big feelings. That's the, the little wheels, big feels. That's where the feelings come in. But yeah, I mean, it's, we're trying to make this place better, and not just this place, our track, but like the entire market, the big,
Easy.
the whole thing, man. Like there's so much knowledge that people have, like the amount of time, like when I talk to Victor, I'm like, Victor's Victor, but like Victor's Victor. But I will tell you this, that dude, his level of precision on things and his insight on stuff that he's been doing for so years, dude, it's invaluable. And
No one builds a car like Victor.
I'm not afraid to ask him. I'm not afraid to get up in his area, we'll say, I'll be nice, and be like, "Victor, I need you to look at my car. I need you to look at this because you're going to know how to fix it. And instead of me spending hours and weeks being frustrated, he does like 10 seconds of communication and all of a sudden it's fixed.
2 Fridays ago, I was working on my GX and could not get that goddamn center shock to work. Could not get it. Losing what little hair, and that's very valuable,
You don't
was
have much.
falling out. Just losing my mind. Just at my wit's end. And finally, I turned around and yelled at Victor to help me. And he goes, "Oh, the center shock's too long. I read it on Facebook. You have to crush it a couple times." I shit you not. I did that. All of a sudden, all my problems were gone. Everything worked great. And it's
I wanted to tell
unbelievable.
that same story. I was going to
Yeah.
I wanted to say the same thing because I was like, that's amazing. Victor doesn't even run for reflex. He
I
doesn't.
know.
He doesn't know. Like, why would he know? And Johnny asked him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw on Facebook you got to squish the spring all the way down, and then it's fine." And I was like, I should start asking him about my questions, for my car because he's probably And then he was like, "Oh, I saw you were asking about the screws on Facebook." He's like on every group, So it's like, all right, this guy's a good resource. I'm glad I sit right next to him.
Yeah, that's why I'm always pinging him. I'm giving him my car all the time and be like, "Why does it do that? It doesn't make any sense." And he'll be like, "Yeah, that's something's wrong. We need to fix that." Right? Because like, look, I can drive my car around the track, but like, am I getting the most out of it? Not always. Right? And that's as you drive these cars, especially at some of the higher levels, man, all those little details really matter, right? Like my shock does not feel perfectly smooth. Okay, you're going to feel that on the track as you get faster, right? As you go from a 2500 car, yeah, maybe your shocks are kind of sticky in 2500. You put that same thing in a 3500 car and guess what? You're not even doing a lap. That's how bad the problem gets. It's kind of exponential in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that was one of the things I learned. My arms weren't free on my stock car years and years ago, and when I went to super stock, I was like, I can't drive it. And I think it was Victor. Yeah, he's like, your arms are stuck.
Like hits them up and they don't come back down. Yeah, been there.
Yeah, that's a thing, man. That is a thing.
Yeah, I learned that the hard.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's. I was going to ask you guys about. Setup sheets. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. What you got for setup sheets?
Well, how come Mini Z doesn't do it? Like, what's the
I was just
big
gonna ask you. I was
secret,
like,
bro?
what setup sheet? Like, I don't know if I've
No,
ever
like,
seen one.
Like nobody does it. It's ridiculous.
Well, what the hell car is anybody even running? I mean, like some of these.
It's a good point.
Some of these drivers that would put out the sheets are probably not running any of the stuff that you're running. So for me,
isn't that always the challenge, right? Like
it seems to be worse at this scale so far. Not with, and maybe it varies by brand, but I guess what I would say about setup sheets is I like to look in 10 scale. I like to look at them. If it's a new car, then I'll use like a trusted setup sheet as like a starting point. But what I really like to do is follow setup sheet progression for drivers who I know drive like maybe on the same tracks that I'll drive on, or maybe have a similar driving style. And I like to compare them from race to race. Like, what are they doing? What are they changing? Because it gives you kind of some insight into like what things they change on the car. And so I really like that. And I like it for in 28 scale, I would like to just know like what like grease to put in my shocks to start and some of those basic things, like so I mean, I think there's value in it, but I think copying a setup verbatim is vastly overrated. Like and maybe 28 scale just got the memo on that. I don't know. Maybe they realize they're running different stuff than anybody else, so they don't bother. But I agree, there's definitely a lack of setup sheets in this.
Or is it the secret squirrel? I'm gonna lose my identity if I share what I'm doing because it puts me at risk.
So there's probably some of that, but I would think majority of the people don't care. Yeah, I would think a majority of the people would tell you exactly what they're doing. But I'm sure there is some of that. Yeah.
If they can. I mean, are they running a box stock car? Is anybody in the A main that, other than like the privateers, maybe, are they running a box stock car? Like, I can't. I mean, I can't even be sure that the car I bought off the shelf is the same as the car somebody else bought off the shelf a month ago. So like I
Boy,
feel
that's
like
true. I mean,
feel-
that is true.
the lack of normalization, I guess, makes it really hard to find value in the setup sheets. Beyond
Yeah.
just like the big strokes, right? Like what grease did they run? What tires did they run? And maybe some of it's because tires are so dominating as far as like how they affect the cars. Like if somebody likes KSKs and I like KSs, like how is the rest of their setup sheet going to mean anything to me? Because like it changes the car so dramatically. And I, like, so maybe it's that. I don't know. I haven't
So-
found a lot of value in it here.
So do we need to start doing setup sheets? Do we
I
need
don't
to start
know,
putting
like-
them out there?
I mean, to Adam's point, maybe they don't add value, but I will tell you, to your point earlier, Johnny, about how do people move up. I mean, you've got to figure out a way to make it more approachable. You cannot do this secret squirrel shit, dude. It's not good. Like, I'm running parts that no one else can get, and by the way, my car's super good and your car sucks because you don't have the special parts that nobody else has. That is so bad for the hobby, dude. It's so bad. And when we do stuff like that and we don't share the knowledge and we don't transfer that to the people that are running the cars, it's a big problem. It's gonna slow down progress. I mean, obviously 128 scale is growing, but there's going to be a point when 128 scale will reach its limitation because you can't provide repeatable cars in all of these. I mean, one of the great things we've talked about this before, but one of the amazing things about Mini Z is RCP and the fact that it's pretty consistent from location to location. That is such a valuable asset when you compare that to other forms of racing, right? Like the off-road thing right now is everybody has like different carpet, right, for carpet off-road, but it sucks because you go to a different track and it's like starting over. On-road's the same way, right? Like ETS setups don't really work in the US because all US is based on CRC carpet, and so you can't take any of that as a baseline to get started. And I think that, yes, in theory, Adam, you're right. I will say that there's not necessarily a lot of value in a setup sheet. Here's where I'll challenge you on that. Let's say you don't have 25 years of experience racing cars. Where do you start? I mean, that's why the setup sheets are so important. They're so important because they become that stepping stone to get somebody out of a box stock car. I mean, imagine if you had resources where you could be like, hey man, I know exactly what parts to buy. I know exactly what car I'm going to build because it's all in the setup sheet, and I'm going to put it together like that, and then I'll ask my local, the local fast guys to help me out. But we don't have any of that.
So how about this? Why don't all of us do a setup sheet? Because we all pretty much run different chassis, right? We have RTRC, we have both reflexes.
I have the Gen
Atomic.
3. Yeah, I have the
Right.
Gen 3.
So
Aren't you
Stadia-
building an MW or not an MWX Masters edition?
No, I'm
No.
just running the reflex cars, and then the G3 is the car I've been running. I haven't put my hands on a GX yet, so
Okay.
I mean, time will tell on what that is. But like for me right now, I'd love to write it down. I'd love to, and to be honest with you, I'm not running anything that no one else can get their hands on. So that's what's good. And my tire program is extremely boring. I mean, it's really boring. It's basic bitch tires. It's mediums in the front, PN mediums in the front, and well, last time I was there, 10s in the rear. And I really like the 10s. I'm actually surprised I like the 10s. I didn't think I was going to like them again. But
I
going
like
from
the
15,
10s.
yeah, the 10s were good, man. They locked
Go-
the car in nicely. I know we're going to start some drama with that's not how these tires work, but I don't care what anybody says. I know what my car does when I drive it. When I go from 15s to 10s, it locks the rear end. It makes the car easier to drive, period. That's all I'm going to say.
There was an interesting thing that happened a couple months ago. Somebody that's coming, I forget the person's name now, but somebody that's coming to the SRA race at our place in a couple of weeks sent the 5280 account a message on Facebook, and they didn't tell us what car they were running or what body they were running or what grease they had in their shocks or any of that. What what side springs? Yeah, no. They were like, what tires are you running? What works at your track? And so I took it and I was trying to answer based on my limited knowledge. But
Boy, hopefully you didn't tell them KSKs, bud, because
I
they're
told
going
him,
to hate their life.
I told him KSMs and the slick radials. No, I mean,
no.
Bring market 10s in the rear,
Yeah, market
15s and
slick, yeah.
20s.
No radials.
If you're gonna bring just 10s and 15s,
Yep.
and then for the fronts, I run KSM mediums. You can also run KS mediums.
That's what I
And
run.
that
KS
is
medium.
safe down the middle. You will be good.
And that's even what we ran at Worlds. So if the grip gets that bananas like it was at Worlds, those tires are still going to work.
It'll be worse this coming race because the temperature's going to be higher.
Yeah, KSKs don't seem to be great at our place from what I've seen. Like none of the people seem to really like KSKs, which is hard for me because I'm going to go to a race somewhere else and everywhere supposedly KSKs are so great everywhere else, and so I have to like withhold my bias based on my personal experience locally and bring them and have them ready. But yeah, but
For that Vegas race, where are they getting that track from?
I think it's the
Are they
same
using
stuff,
that?
same stuff you guys ran
It's
on.
going to be
But
the same tiles that we ran on.
yeah, but Brent is smart enough to at least Zamboni the track. I mean, Brent knows he made it clear that he's gonna, make sure that the track is prepped and everything. So I mean, hopefully he has final say in that stuff. Or I don't want to repeat what you guys experienced there in Vegas.
It was rough until those times. Here's the big thing though: if they add new tiles, you got to make sure, which is very possible. You got to make
Clean
sure they
them.
get cleaned, man. They got to get cleaned, or you're gonna have a miserable time.
You hear that, Brent? You hear that, Brent?
I'm sure he's not listening, but that's okay. Like I'm just telling you, like we started that race and I was trying to book a flight home after the first day because I'm like, my car does not even drive around this track. Like, can't even do it. And then they cleaned the tiles and it was a fundamental game changer.
I hope they don't screw it up because there's a lot of big names at this race. So they really have a lot of incentive to get it right. It's also pretty critical for, I think, the perception of 28 scale racing. So like, please don't fuck this up.
Yeah,
Well, I think the
mean,
guys from that local track know what they're doing now after we all explained it to them. So
Yeah.
hopefully they take that and move on with it.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I think it was an opportunity for them to learn from people that run tracks all over the country. So that's always good.
And honestly, to their defense, how would you know? I mean, how would you know you have to wipe them down like that unless you've gone through it like we have?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know by doing it.
I mean, you guys know it because you have like 10 different tracks stacked up at our track.
Yeah,
So
we got the abomination track.
Yeah. I mean, like, because there's been so many generations, so many tile heights, so many different things you guys have been dealing with over the years that there's just that carnal knowledge about how to deal with it. And that's kind of where I was trying to go with the setup sheet thing, right? Is that there's a lot of knowledge that we can share, and setup sheets are a great way to do it. They're not the only way to do it, but it's a pretty standard way of doing it, and I think it could be useful. But I think we've made enough points now that, you know what, I think, Johnny, we should try to do setup sheets this week, and we should post them in our Discord, and we should tell people what we're running so that we can encourage people to move up and to get different cars. That's how you do it.
I'll do mine tonight and throw it up. Timmy, will you create another channel in Discord?
Yeah,
we'll do setups, right, that we can share with people. Like, here's a lipo box stock Gen 3 car with a 3500. Boom, here's what I was running.
No.
I think there's almost more value in that if you make it like specific to your track too, because then maybe people that are going to come to your event don't have to send you a message on Facebook and hope the right person answers. They can track down a setup sheet for like, oh, here's a 5280, whatever Gen 3 setup sheet, and here's what they ran, and I'll start there because those guys know what's up. I mean, I think I was looking at like for world setup sheets for my own home track because I had no idea where to start.
Yeah. And how many did you find?
0.
Exactly. So
I don't
like,
I don't even
how
know
do
if
we?
they exist.
We can play a part in trying to fix this problem. As a matter of fact, Adam, I think it's a great opportunity to use your skills to help us build an infrastructure to help move Mini Z along, right? Like, I think this is an opportunity for you and Claude or you and Codex to get together and let's work on something, because honestly, I think if we're going to grow, we've got to grow by sharing information, and keeping it all hidden behind all this malarkey is not helpful. That's my opinion on it.
No, I agree completely. I mean, when these new motors came out, I pretty much went and bought 2 of everything, test them, ran them, and posted all that information on our Discord for everyone.
Yeah.
So that everyone knows exactly what you should be running. That way, you
With
don't have to
pictures,
spend,
even with
Yeah.
pictures.
you don't have to spend all this money on stuff. You
That
can
and
just go to here. This is what I need.
And that was what we were talking about the other night, right? We were talking to Mike, and Mike was like, I don't want to come run with you guys because it's the motor of the week. And it's like, no, dude. There's enough crazy people in this group that like, we're going to buy all these motors, try them, so you don't have to do it, right? So you don't have to spend Johnny money trying to figure out what's the best motor. We'll just let Johnny spend it all. And
Well,
then
the
we'll
beauty
just,
of it was not only did I get to tech mine, I teched all of yours also.
yeah, so you stole information from
Yeah,
me to help
exactly.
you. That's not cool, bro.
Exactly.
That is
It's like
not.
23andMe all over.
Yeah,
again.
you're like you should be an AI company.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, we could be
there's
I could make our website. I could put a section on there and make it like the Petted RC of 28 scale. You know,
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it would be so easy for you to do that and make it look really good, and it would be so useful, right? Like, we could put information about how to deal with a new track and all of those things, right? Because look, like I said, and to our point that we were talking about a little bit before we got on air, right? Which is, as we're seeing tracks starting to close, one of the things that I think will stand the test of time is the affordability, the portability of 128 scale. I think it's going to, you do not need a full track with all of this space and thousands of pits. You could literally have a small space with folding tables and have plenty of people come out and race with you.
We were going down that road when we were homeless for a little bit there. I mean, Tim and Linda and I and Jimmy, we were all looking for a place to just rent out, a gymnasium somewhere that was just keep running.
Yeah. And there's enough tracks closing, and then you get like leveraging churches or leveraging other places where you can like use it on a Wednesday night, and most people are perfectly fine letting you store stuff in the closet, and like, it would totally work for so many different areas. And it's like, we are fortunate enough to have a club and a space, and it's great. But like, even if we didn't have that, I think I would be here helping you guys trying to figure out a place for us to race, right? Like, we would figure it out, man. We would go to Adam's big luxury basement and we would run 28 scale in his basement, or we would find somewhere to go. But like, at the end of the day, like, man, you don't need a ton of space to have a good time with these race cars. You just don't. And it's a very different market than 8 scale off-road or 10 scale off-road or even on-road, and all these big tracks, man. They're just, we see them dropping like flies, man. What is it this week? Another 2 tracks closed, big name tracks. That's a big problem, man. It's a big problem.
Maybe along with setup sheets, we should create like a guide for new RCP track owners. Like, here's the very basic steps to take to make your track drivable, like wet a towel and drag it around or whatever. Like, use this web page to design your layouts ahead of time. Don't wait till you get there. Have them ready to go. You guys know more about this than I do, but like, put the shiny side up or whatever, like, just like a basic guide. I mean, like, a lot of these people may not realize, like, clearly, like, that race you went to in Vegas, they had no idea what to do there, and that was a big race. That was like a SRA race, and they didn't, they had dust on there, and the first day was ruined or whatever. So maybe there's some value in capturing that information and putting it into like one spot.
Yeah, and I think, Timmy, I mean, I know you do, and Adam does layouts, but like, put layouts up there too, right? So people understand what's a good racing layout. A lot of people don't know, right? You get in that tool and you start moving stuff around. And by the way, I hate that thing, but like, I don't like doing layouts in general. But like in general, like what I'm saying is like people don't know what fun racetracks are, right? And so they don't know the elements to put in. They don't know like is it supposed to be a 3 wide or 2 wide or whatever, right? And you guys already have we have all these track designs that we know work. Like let's share them with people, right? Because what's so bad about that? Like if I was trying to start a track, the first thing I would do is reach out to guys like you and say like, hey guys, how do you do it? But not everybody's going to be like that. You know, a lot of people are just going to try to figure it out on their own. And like, why make it so hard? It doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah, credit to Randy. He reached out to somebody that knows what's up and got help putting his track together and doing it in the right way, or at least the current thought on what the right way is. So
I'm sure Jimmy's got all kinds of good stuff he can write down in his little guide on how to do this correctly, because Jimmy's been doing this for probably longer than anybody I know, and you've got a lot of useful information. You helped us when we were in Vegas to get the guys on the right path, and I think all of those things could be helpful for other tracks. That's what I would say.
Don't worry, Jimmy. You don't have to write. Just tell me. I'll write it down for you.
I can see like the.
We got a guy for that, I guess. Is what we're saying.
Well, I'll write it down and then we'll give it to the voice of 5280 to broadcast it.
Who's that?
Timmy.
Treasurer.
Oh, the treasurer?
No,
it's not the VP. That's for
That was
sure.
the vice president.
That's Timmy.
Yeah,
he was anointed that at Vegas.
Oh, okay.
The
so,
voice of
oh yeah,
5280.
you were the voice of 5280. I forgot about that.
That was not
Yeah, he
a
was.
democratic election. We
Uh-huh.
drew straws. I
Yeah,
got the short one.
Yep, you sure did. You sure did. But you owned it, and I appreciate that.
No, yeah, to all of it. The one thing, before you go copying all of our setup sheets that we post on the internet and Adam collates and, just remember at 5280, we have great grip. And hopefully all of us are kind enough to leave notes about our personal driving styles, because I'll tell you guys why I don't use them all that often. Is I used a well-known, very good driver's setup sheet once, and that was the nosiest, most painful car ever for me to drive. So now that I know more about setup, I can look at the sheet and kind of see like this is high response and wicked grip, and that's not how I roll. I like no response and no grip, and I'll do it with the trigger.
I think that's a big thing that's missing on modern setup sheets today is driving style, right? Do you like a lot of steering? Do you like not a lot of steering? Like, and I know it's subjective because, like Adam will tell me all the time, like, oh man, I like a lot of steering. And then we switched cars the other day and we were like, what the hell is this thing? Right? Like this thing like pushes off the planet. But like I had to adjust to how he likes to drive his car. And once I figured out what the trick to it was, like I could go pretty fast with it. But it took me 3 or 4 laps of, hey, Adam, is this how you drive this thing? Or do you, in this case, he has to turn in a lot earlier than I do. I can late apex my car, and I know that. I have a lot of steering, but I can crank on the wheel. Like, these are characteristics of the way that I drive. But a lot of times you don't know that unless you drive somebody else's car that's pretty fast. And I drove Adam's car, and I'm like, I don't even know how you get around the track with this damn thing, right? Like, and that does make setups subjective. But to your point, Tim, if you can say, I like a car that does this, it gives characteristics for the reader to say, yeah, I don't drive like that. That's a terrible idea, right? But like to Adam's point, one of the reasons why we have spent so many years trying different setup sheets in 10 scale on road as an example is you eventually start to learn that the kinds of people that you follow have a very similar style from car to car to car to car, right? So then you can say, all right, Alexander Hagberg drives like this. And I know I've tried his setup before and it's dialed. So when X-Ray comes out with a new car, for instance, if I throw that setup on, I know it's a good place to start. Am I going to have to tune it? Yes, for my driving style, but I know fundamentally it's where it needs to be. Part of the problem with Mini Z that I see is that everybody just builds the car as the manual's built and then hopes for the best. And that I would say that's probably not the best plan. So I think some information could go a long way in this regard.
I wonder what my driving style is.
Rail.
Rail to rail,
Braille.
car to car.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's not really even a way to quantify like driving styles. Like, that thing Art said he adjusted to, in 4 laps or whatever. Like, I adjusted his radio by taking like 45 clicks of D-rate out so that I could get the car around the truck. And it was so funny. Like, we were giggling about it because it used to be like I had to have all the steering, and Art would drive the pushy car like in 10 scale, and you'd be like, oh, you're scrubbing so much speed with all that steering. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just going to rip out of the corner. It'll be fine. And now we've like switched positions. Like, now I don't want a lot of steering from the input. I want the steering from the weight transfer. So I've got like my endpoints down real low, and then I like let the car dump on the nose with a lot of droop and a lot of drag brake, and that's how I get the steering. But like, I can explain that, but like, nobody can just go drive like that. Like, that takes years to and then how do you quantify that? Like, is that point and shoot, or is that are we going to give it styles like lightsaber fighting, where I'm a style 3 and you're a style 5? Like, there's like no system for quantifying that kind of thing. And so I think that's part of the challenge with setups is that, Art could write down his setup and I could put it on my car and it'd be like, oh, this thing is terrible. But, well, he drives it with 35 more clicks at D-rate than I would ever imagine using. So how am I going to make any judgment about his setup or anything like that? Because we're so different in how we tune our radios and our speed controls, and that doesn't get captured in a setup sheet. So I think that's probably why setup sheets become very, very much just like a starting point. And then, like, okay, like, I have no idea what grease to put in my gear diff or what grease to put in my side tubes or whatever. Like, at least get me there, and then I'll figure out the rest on the track.
No, yeah, all right. Everyone get a setup sheet printed.
Come on, there's
Mandatory for
value in it for
There is.
people. I'm
There
telling
is.
you, there's value for people.
There is. If nothing else, for the tire part.
The tire part, and I think it'll help out. Just keep it local. Guys at our track, thinking about stepping up into LiPo 2500 or up into 3500. At least give them some place to start.
Yeah, I think it's so overwhelming if you think about, like, there's so many competitive cars in the market, and like, you're like, I have no idea what I need. Like, and that was like, for me, like, leaning on Mike and leaning on Victor and leaning on you guys, like, hey guys, I need help. Like, I have no idea. And then you can articulate some of the characteristics, like, this is why you would do this. But like, I know that I'm gonna ask. I'm not scared. I know that the fastest way for me to proceed is by asking questions from the people at the top. So that's just what I do. But some people want to experience it on their own, and I think that's where these setup sheets become so valuable. Is I think they can really articulate. It's funny because even like Adam sometimes switches his cars, and it's so crazy that you can take the same chassis, drive so differently, and still go the same speed, right? It's pretty crazy, dude. Like, I drive my car so different than Adam, and Adam drives his car and set up so different than mine, and we're all within not even a tenth. It's less than that.
Is that normal for a guy that really only does Mini Z? Is that like normal? Is that the same way in 10 scale?
No.
Where you have, 6
No.
guys, 6 different chassis.
Well, there's not really 6 different chassis and carpet on road that you can even choose from these days. There's really only 2 options. So, like, for the most part, I'm in general, but like at the competitive market perspective, like there's really only Automatics and X-Ray. I mean, nobody else is really in that game. But the thing about it is, like, most of those chassis setups translate pretty well. It seems like because the tires are less of a factor in on-road, because everything's spec tire for the most part, that it's different. In Mini Z, because there's a bazillion different options, man, it's so hard to even, like, if I didn't have access to you guys, I'd be so lost. I would have just went on Super G and bought everything 1,000 times and like would have just banged my head against this, and I probably would have given up on it, honestly. There's too many choices. It's too hard to pick what I should be running at this track. Like, I don't know. And the thing is, there are like, and I think what's really important is to understand is traction changes throughout the day. And so when we get there and we clean the track off, track drives very different than it does by the time we're at mains. And so I could see how you could be chasing tires the entire time. And you could do that. But that's where that local knowledge really helps, and leaning in on people and saying, are these tires okay? And hopefully what they'll tell you is you just got to stick it out, stay with these tires, keep them clean, make sure that, you're adjusting your glue or your discs or whatever, but just stay the course, right? That's something that local knowledge can help you understand. Without that, man, I'd be chasing like crazy.
And imagine, like, box stocks, they traction roll. It's what they do. If you bought firm tires, because in 10 scale, that's the less reactive tire,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I've done everything. It's on marketplace. Screw it. Because
That's what happens.
no one told you to super glue your sidewall, run a disc. The firms are the spooky tire. It's all backwards. So if you didn't have that support group to,
There's a lot to that, man. Like, even because I run the off-road program at 5280, and man, the amount of people I see come in with tires that don't have glue on them, and I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? Right? Like, and the thing is, they don't know, and they don't know to ask, right? Because they think, hey, I bought these tires, they were pre-glued for me, I threw them on my buggy, and they're great. And it's like, yeah, but like, you're spinning out every corner. Do you not see that? And they're like, oh, I just thought that was how this is. I mean, that literally, I'm giving you guys a conversation with somebody that I had recently. Like, oh, I thought that just is how carpet is. And I'm like, no, man, that is not how this is supposed to be. Let me help you. So I took his tires, cleaned the sidewalls, put some glue on them, threw him back on his car. He went out there. He was like, oh my God, it's like a completely different car. And I'm telling you, that is the experience that you have to provide for people. Because to your point, Tim, like, it's so easy for them to buy the firms, throw them on there and say, oh, this is terrible. I'm a terrible driver. I'm the worst driver ever. And it's like, no, man, there's so much more to it than just the driver. There's so many components. It's one of the things that's so challenging about RC is that there's a lot of moving parts, not only the car, but the human. Right? The human plays a big part in that. So, yeah.
Certainly
a
having
pro to drive your car.
8,000 different possible tire combinations is not helping.
Mm-mm.
But are there really? I mean, there are a lot of tires, but I think in general everyone runs the same.
All right,
handful.
Johnny. Hey, you're Mr. Moneybags. Go up on Wolfram and go look at the tire combination.
Oh no, I'm not saying there aren't 8,000 sets. There are.
But you
don't we
better.
all run the same thing?
No. See, you know better. So you know what to go buy. But
Right.
let's say I don't know, and I'm like, I know that these guys are running PNs. So then I go up there and I buy PN fronts and PN rears. and then I go to the track and I cry because there's no way that PN rears are going to work. Okay.
That's interesting. So I
Or Marcas, right? Oh, I
Yeah,
heard
you're
somebody
right.
say Marca. I heard somebody
Right.
say Marca. So I went up and I bought Marca fronts, Marca rears. I got all the Marcas, bro. I'm all of them. And then you get to the track and you're like, my car is traction rolling every 3 feet. Like, dude, I'm telling you, there's so much implied. You think that people know, but they don't know.
So I know when I have new guys come up and I'm talking with them, whether they're just walking in off the street or looking to get in. We had one of the off-road guys want to get into Mini Z, so I got him a car, and I was telling him one of the first things I tell them are these are the tires you need to get, and I give him part number and website to go get them, and I always put them on mediums and 10s. This is where you need to be. Don't get anything else. Stay here until a year down the road when you're looking for 10s.
Yeah.
But I know that's something I like. The most important thing I tell them.
I mean,
is-
that's good advice, and I hope people will heed that advice. But the thing about it is, like, if you go up and you're like, I'll tell you, the guy we were supposed to have on tonight, he did this. Matt, hopefully we'll have him on in a future episode. But like, he did this. He like went up to a website and just bought a bunch of random tires.
Yeah.
Right, because he didn't know, right? Because nobody, well, he might not have asked, or nobody told him, and maybe that was my job as the person that's like sort of got him into it. Like, I should have told him. Maybe it was my
Someone
fault.
dropped the ball there.
I maybe you're right, but like at the end of the day, like he was just like, he's like, I went and bought all this stuff, because people want to bench race, they want to buy stuff. It's so fun, right? There's nothing better than getting an RC package at your front door. It's like crack cocaine. So
I mean,
like,
you should see how many fucking tires I have. This whole bag's full of goddamn tires.
I believe it.
Hundreds and hundreds of tires.
And the reality is, look at Timmy, right?
I only got one set right here. That's all you need.
CJ, look at
Look at
Jim. He's
this.
only got one set. Look.
1, 2,
You have those
All
snake
I-
skins, Jimmy.
3.
Snake skins. That's the key right there, man. That's
So
the key.
So you guys are experienced Mini Z guys,
I
and
still
you've
take
got
one
that
of every
many
tire.
tires, right? If you're somebody new, you don't even know where to start, dude. It's
Yeah.
so
Well, Johnny and I
intimidating.
did the same thing going to Worlds in Texas a couple years ago. We were told to buy these tires. We bought those tires. They did not work.
I still have them.
I'm sure you do.
That was
sure you
3
do.
years ago. Yeah, I still have them.
Well, we had to buy tires down there.
Oh man, isn't that just the worst though?
Well,
And
when we went down to San Antonio this past winter for their annual race, Jimmy and Tim were talking to Grant, and we were just kind of bullshit. And Grant goes, "What was shocking? No one called and asked me what tires to bring." And it was like an epiphany for me because I know Grant could have easily reached out to him. Didn't even occur to me to do it. I think we need to start.
Well, I'll tell you this,
communicating
Adam, with your website that you're talking about building, which I'm very excited about, by the way. We could have a track database with tires that work there. That could be a very easy thing to do. And let me tell you, that would be fundamentally a game changer. Like if I knew I was going to 5280 and I needed a tire that was for sure going to work, recommended tire, front this, 8.5, this compound, this part number, and then a link to an affiliate, right? Or whatever. I'm telling you, man, this would be very, very useful for people, especially new people that just don't know what questions to ask.
What's tricky is getting it to the new hobby shops, because Xander and my mom went to a hobby shop in Missouri, and they're brand new into Mini Z. And right now their two classes are the 6-tooth pinion training mode and the 6-tooth pinion not training mode.
Okay.
And,
That's awesome.
the tires are all Kyosho on the wall. All the parts are all Kyosho on the wall. some try-hard came in with a GL, you know, the stuff we ditched 10 years ago. And yeah, Xander set their track record with a quarter.
I mean, let's hope that that's not the rule, but more of the exception. I would say what would also be useful about that thing is that you could, as a track owner, look across what other tracks are using and see what is working for other people. I mean, remember, we're all pretty much running on the same surface. At least that has been previously the case until carpet gets in the mix and screws everything up. But like, at least for right now, 99% of the tracks that exist in the market are on the same kind of surface, which means that stuff that's working in general, the general stuff, should work for the most part everywhere, right? Like, I do think that if I had gone to Vegas, even with the traction issues on the first day, if I had 10s or 5s on my car, it would have been a very different situation. Because I actually did end up gluing up a set of 10s, and they were remarkably better, right? Even with the traction the way that it was. So, like, even just knowing that, my 15s that I went out there with weren't really working, I went to a fresh set of 10s, cut them down, and my car was at least drivable, right? Like, it was in the ballpark. To at least even know that would be really, really useful. And then other tracks can use it too. Like, hey, why do PN mediums and 10s, work in Denver but don't work in Ohio, as an example, right? So I think it could be useful for track owners to compare and contrast as well.
Alrighty. Speaking of new RCP tracks, you guys see what One Up is doing over there in Utah?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Looks like Randy's all in on it, which is cool. It's like, man,
For those of us that don't have social media, what's going on with the
well,
One Up?
he's essentially so Randy Castor of One Up Racing is looks like he's building a track locally. I think he's in like the Provo area, if I remember correctly, something like that. He had an area in his warehouse that was sitting there kind of blank, and he went and bought a whole lot of RCP to build a track.
Hopefully a lot of Simple Green.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, but like we said, if they don't know that, they don't know that, right? Like, that's why we got to get that information out. Anyway, it looks like he spent a bunch of money, and he's going to hold races, and probably will start making parts, I assume, because Randy makes lots of parts for lots of different I would say classes that exist in RC. So I expect he's gonna probably get into the accessory market for this stuff too, which is awesome. But yeah, it's really cool to see what he's doing. He's seems like he's all in on it. I didn't see how much he got, but it looked like a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, he made a post about like being excited about having a track 2 feet from his desk, because I think that space is like going to be a retail shop and maybe like the One Up offices, maybe. But I do kind of wonder, like, Randy is a touring car guy. I do kind of wonder if he saw like the Associated all-wheel drive and thought, like a lot of us, like, oh, that looks like a touring car, because it is. Like, that's something I can relate to. Whereas the 28 scale cars with their weird ass front suspension hybrid pan car, touring car thing, I think it seems a little weird until you get into it. But like, seeing a 28 scale touring car or all-wheel drive or whatever we're calling them, that's like, oh, that's relatable. I can do that. That's something I can get down with. So I don't know what got him into it. Maybe it was a little more complex than that. Like, he's a businessman. He probably has been watching the market for a while, would be my guess. But that's a pretty big deal. I mean, One Up is, their social media presence is massive. They, they're involved in on-road and off-road. They sponsor a lot of races. Randy's a racer. I think he preps cars for some of the pro drivers. I mean, like, Randy's the real deal. So it's a pretty exciting to see 1UP get into it
Yeah.
and promote it on their social media.
Yeah, he's got a big following, which is great, right? And the fact that he's out there advertising that he's going to build a track so that he can race these cars, I think it's cool. I think it can only help, to be honest. I'm excited to see what racing is. And by the way, guys, if he happens to hold a race, it's within driving distance for us.
I'm pumped.
It's in the region.
How long of a drive is that?
6
I don't know,
hours.
Probably
What?
6
Really?
6 or 8 hours. Yeah, it's probably not bad.
Easier
Salt
than
Lake
that
was
Albuquerque
8.
drive.
Oh, that was rough. I just got back from Iowa, so I don't want to hear it. It was 13 and a half hours.
We drove
So-
up to Wolfram.
Where's his shop at or track?
I think it's in.
What
Is
state?
it in Provo? It's in Utah.
It's
I
not
think it's in-
Provo. I don't know. We should look it up. We all have the internet at our fingertips, right?
Yeah, I know, but like.
Well, somebody needs to call him and see if he wants to help sponsor our race.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. You're always trying to think about that kind of stuff, and I appreciate that, but like.
You know him. Give him a call.
Yeah, I guess I could.
See what he can do.
It's interesting, though. I mean, I guess this is the segue into our final topic, but I mean, like, there's a lot of brands starting to embrace 28 scale, and not just like kind of embrace it, like really get into it.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. I'm still a bit of an outsider, but like my perspective is on 28 scale is that if you didn't know about 28 scale, think about the way you feel about cars that you don't know about. Like, how do you feel about like mini or small like off-road cars? Do those seem like race cars to you, or does that seem more like a kind of a toy or a thing that people have fun with? Or what do you think when you see people put a track in their backyard and they're out there like doing jumps and having fun? Does that seem like serious racing to you, or does that just seem like people having fun? Like, it's easy to develop these perceptions of things that you don't know about, and I think that a lot of people that don't know about 28 scale, and I experienced this myself, maybe have that opinion of it, like, oh, that's funster stuff, or that's like, those are little cars, oh, they're just like, ready to runs or whatever. And then you do it and you're like, oh shit, this is racing. Like, this isn't just like, this is racing at a high level. Like, I mean, it's really all there. Like, all the things that you like about the bigger scales is all there in the smaller scale. And I think a lot of people just haven't made that connection yet in their minds because they haven't done it, or what they've seen of it has been, maybe people bashing or driving, not driving like at a high level or whatever. And so they develop these perceptions. And all of these established companies that have a reputation for being serious about racing, starting to embrace 28 scale, I think is going to be really help with the perception, where the local guy that maybe their track just closed because that's happening all over the place, or maybe they're tired of the vibe at their permanent track that they're lucky enough to have isn't great, and maybe they're like, let's go see what this 28 scale thing's about. These guys go race in the library once a week, or they set up in a in a gym at the elementary school, or they set up at a permanent track where let's go see what that's all about, because obviously there's something there. If all these big racing companies are suddenly jumping in, making batteries, making parts, opening tracks, promoting it on Facebook or whatever, like, maybe there's something to that. And so I think that is huge for the perception and potentially bringing people in from other scales, which is a way to grow the hobby, at least our part of the hobby, right? I mean, you can grow it with getting newcomers, and that should always be the goal. But if you've got people that are displaced because they lost their home track, or they're they're down on whatever, they're tired of the expense, or they're tired of the long drive, or they're tired of sitting in a field all weekend or whatever, like, we're here, we're here, and we're not going anywhere because our shit can be set up and taken down in an hour. We don't need a permanent facility necessarily. So I think it's huge. I think it's all these companies getting into it is huge. And as somebody that has really, like, in the last 6 months, like, kind of fallen in love with the scale and really enjoying quite a bit about it, it's I'm pretty pumped.
And it's not just 1UP. ProTech, that's a main, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so ProTech, it's a HV battery, but it's a battery. Assault did a battery.
Macklin just got into the
Macklin.
business.
Yep.
Which I think they do have the best stickers on the market. I'm not gonna lie.
Exalt's putting out batteries.
Yeah. Kevin over at Exalt. I know he released a 20 mil and then ended up coming out with a 24 mil. I know he's thinking about motors. So I think it's really starting to transfer over. I mean, I think Associated getting in the game is very interesting, right? And they're not necessarily new now because the RC28's been out for like about a year or so, right? The TC28 getting into the market, I think, is kind of a big deal. So we'll see what happens with that. But then I wonder about, X-Ray
Shipping
and
in early June.
yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Is it?
Wait, what? When is
Is
it?
it? Yeah, it's June 28th. So
Maybe
I
they
still
meant
hasn't
next
shipped.
year.
Yeah,
2027.
yeah.
Did you
But
guys
then,
all get yours?
No.
No, did you order them? Sorry, I should rephrase.
Oh yeah, I ordered one, of course.
I am actually going to wait for the Reflex, especially since I saw that they're going to have prototypes at our Denver race in a couple of weeks.
I mean, I'll get one of those too, but
Yeah.
obviously.
But I just better have 2 spur gears, Christian. 2 spur gears.
Not again.
That's
not
a gizmo.
again.
That's a
not
gizmo
again,
code.
dude.
Like 2 people in the whole world to get it.
Never again with that. But I think if you get a company like X-Ray or Awesomatics in this market, my goodness, I think it would absolutely explode. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. There's speculation about certain manufacturers over in Europe looking at building a car, but none of it's confirmed. It's all hearsay. We don't know anything. The only thing I will say is that there's a good amount of nice cars on the market already. And if you get some of those big name brands in the game, man, this is going to really take off. My only caution would be I'm not sure how on-road 10 scale is going to survive it. That's what I would say. Because, man, I think that's one of the reasons why some of these companies are scared to get into it, to be honest with you. Because once you open that box, man, I think there's a potential huge opportunity.
See, everyone always talks about Mini Z. You can set up anywhere, and you're up and down in an hour. You should be able to race a Fortec in a parking lot. Like, that seems like the real.
When was the last
Portable
time you
scale.
raced anything in a parking lot, Tim?
Yeah,
It sucks, bro. And I'm going to tell you why. Because these cars are 5 to 6 millimeters off the surface, right? They don't. These parking lots have no grip. I'm telling you, it's a miserable experience. As somebody that's put on a lot of outdoor racing over the years, it's so much work to
I know you
prep
guys have done it.
the surface and to get it ready for racing and to build the infrastructure. Man, it is tons of work.
Yeah, have you ever priced a decoder for 10 scale? Have you ever? Like the RC4 decoders are like what, $4,000 or something?
Yeah, 3,000 or 4,000.
Holy shit!
Yeah, as opposed to $100 for an easy lap decoder, like that right there is a big one. You can't even afford a backup for your big race.
Yeah.
Think about the boards, like the barriers. Remember how much trouble we had storing the barriers and all the stuff for our outdoor track? We had a trailer that would get broken into because we had to, we had these ginormous 2x4s that had to be stored somewhere that we were using to make the surf or the barriers for the track. Like, parking lot racing is nice-ish, but you also got to find a parking lot where the owner is okay with you spraying grape soda on their asphalt and leaving a big ugly skid marks all over it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to it. The 28 scale thing is like, you leave no trace. Like, you set it down, you pull it up, and you're in and out in 4 hours, 5 hours. You could do it in a gym at any elementary school in the country.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will rent you their gyms for $25 an hour. You just got to sort out the logistics of insurance and all that stuff. But
It is high quality racing in an hour. It's not no grip.
Correct.
Yeah, the grip comes up fast on RCP, especially if you clean it.
I mean, and the thing is, like, there's so many logistics to all these other racing forms. Like, how big the track has to be. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people have complained about, oh, your track isn't 100 by blah blah blah. I'm not even showing up to it, right? It's just like, there's people can be very persnickety about things, like about the capabilities of the track. Sorry, Adam.
Beat
I
me
didn't
to
mean
it.
but no, at the end of the day, I think it's just so accessible for people that it's so different than any other form of racing. Even 8 scale, like we were talking about this earlier, right? Like that, like, oh, everybody's going to 8 scale now. Like, are you? Like, do you know what it takes to keep an 8 scale track like functioning? There are people that are busting their rears trying to make that place function. It's not like it's a simple thing. A lot of people take it for granted because they don't do it, but like somebody's doing that work to keep the track maintained, to water it, to make sure that the facility's working, backup generators and gasoline and all that. Man, it takes a lot of work. And I just don't, I think, people are very easy to say, yeah, all the racetracks are going to close that are 10 scale and everything's going to become 8 scale. And I'm like, nah. What happens if you live in a place where you can't race all year round? What happens if you're not in Southern California, guys? Like, it's not real anywhere else, to be honest.
Yeah, and a lot of this is coming from that Mod Media post, which I think was a reaction to the RC1 track closing.
Yeah.
And saying that basically like 10 scale has to be raced indoors. Indoors are getting expensive or are hard to maintain because of the cost of leases, and so outdoors you have less of that, but you also have to hope that you've got a landowner in the area that's willing to put up that space and prep it and deal with the liability of having a bunch of people on their land and all the problems that could come about because of that, and noise ordinances and all those different things. Like, I mean, there's a lot of and 8 scale is also pretty fucking expensive, right? Like, so there's a lot of I'm not sure 8 scale is where like people are going to land as they get potentially displaced because there's no local track anymore to race indoor. And I mean, I hope tracks continue to survive, but I mean, if I think about like the on-road tracks that I'm aware of, I mean, they're almost all labors of love that if somebody is running it because they love it and they want to have a place to race, they're probably not making money on it. They're probably losing money or hoping to break even. And I know there's exceptions. I know there's some successful tracks out there, but a lot of them I think are people just trying to break even so they can continue to enjoy their hobby and not constantly be in fear of having it taken away from them because they can't afford their lease or whatever. So yeah, 28 scale stands to benefit, I think, from that. And to Art's point, like maybe it is the thing that inherits the earth, right? Like maybe the companies are afraid to embrace the scale because they're worried it'll cannibalize the sales of their larger, probably more profitable models. I don't know. That's a stretch. I don't know if that's the case, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched when if you really kind of like game this out and think about like the way things are going and where they're gonna go. Like, is it sustainable to have 20,000-foot facilities where 10 or 15 guys show up once a week to race? How are you gonna? I mean, yeah, if you're a wealthy building owner, there's a couple of those out there that do it because they love it, but like, are those places really realistic for sustaining a hobby that's raced nationally? I don't know, man. Doesn't
I
seem
don't
like
think
it.
so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say that a lot of the facilities that have been around for a really long time, one, are either clubs, or two, are supported by the cities or the towns that people live in. Right? For 8 scale, I think that's been one of the more successful ways to do it, is where somebody goes to the city and says, hey, can you give us a plot of land that we can put a racetrack on? We'll maintain it, but just give us something. And that works for a lot of towns. Now, we've tried that here in the Denver area. That hasn't worked out for us. We've had to do it as a club and build it up on our own. But like, that is real. Like in Las Vegas, for instance, they have an 8 scale track and an on-road track, and it's all built by the city or provided by the city, which is great. But that's not an easy thing to do. And even sometimes in those situations, Guess what? The city decides they're going to put a parking lot where your racetrack is, and guess what? Your racetrack goes away. I mean, that's just how it works. I think what makes Mini-Z more accessible is you don't have to rely on that. I mean, we've talked about it in the past about, hey, can we find a space in town that would be just Mini-Z only? And the thing about it is you don't need 10,000 square feet to pull it off. You just don't. You need like maybe 2,000, maybe 1,000 square feet. And you can really have a great racing program in 1,000 square feet. And that's pretty easy to find pretty much anywhere, to be honest.
All you need is a racquetball court, pretty much.
Yeah, there was that guy in California that was running in that gymnasium, and I used to watch him all the time. And
yes, it was so cool to see the volleyball.
Yeah,
and
they'd be
all the
playing
different
basketball
sports.
and shit in the background, but like apparently they lost that space.
But what great exposure! Like, I mean, I don't know where people congregate anymore, but like, man, if we could set up a track at the mall, I mean, nobody goes to malls, I guess, anymore. I don't know, but I mean, if we could set up a track somewhere where there's a lot of people, like, what a great way to get exposure for your racing, which is hard to do in any other scale. You can't do that really very easily with a permanent facility, because a lot of times you're in a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Like
In the cheapest possible space you can find, quite honestly.
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
maybe,
that's just how
you've
it
got
is.
AC, maybe you don't. Like
Yeah, I mean that's always been the challenge. I mean, where 5280 is located is not, I would say, in a Cherry Creek type area of Denver, right? It's cheap. It's cheap rent, to be honest with you, and that's the reason why it's been so successful. But it's all very hard for these. I mean, when you read the post from RC1, right? Like, people just stop showing up and stop spending money, and you just can't sustain that. I mean, one of the things that I think is great thing about clubs doing Mini-Z racing, and just in that I think that model works because you're not necessarily relying so heavily on a hobby shop or something like that to create the rent money to be able to pay for a space. And the space is so much smaller that the price per square inch of racing is much lower, right, than it would be for any other class style. So I just think it makes it very accessible. I just wonder if any of these other big companies are gonna, kind of double down on investing in this market, or they're not going to. I mean, I'm shocked actually that Team X-Ray hasn't come up with a car. I'm actually shocked by that, to be honest with you.
It was interesting talking about brands that have been entering the market. It was very interesting to me that MXLR, Max Mockler's brand, came out with a servo, because Max is pretty tight. I don't know exactly what his relationship is, but he's pretty tight with Osmatics. And so I thought that was very telling. And I pinged him and asked him about it a little bit, and it does sound like he's planning to do more 28 scale racing on his own. He didn't obviously say anything about Osmatics. Why would he? But he does seem to be interested in the scale. So, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. That's a person that's very well connected in that in the 10 scale world and very well respected. So I'm planning to pick up a MXLR servo for my next build. I want to support those folks and show them that 28 scale's got something to offer them, because I personally hope that more of them get into it. And I embrace the idea of these other brands getting into it. I mean, a 28 scale with an X-ray quality build, like, would be pretty remarkable. Not that these other brands have been bad. They've all done a pretty good job, and I'm happy with the cars that I've run as far as quality goes. But I mean, nothing builds like an X-ray. They just don't. I don't care. I don't care how many machine shops you've got in China. Nothing builds like an X-ray.
Well, when you can do everything in house like they can, like, it's just a whole nother level, dude.
It's untouchable.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, you could build an arm and have it not fit, and then go back to the guy in the back and say, hey, can you adjust this by a tenth? And then he goes back and does his magic, and the mold gets updated, and boom, you got a fixed part. I mean, it's remarkable what they can do, honestly.
It is, and because everything is smaller, that level of precision, I think, would be even more valuable in 28 scale than it is at the larger scales. I think their ability to fit and finish. And you know what? Like if you need a 1mm arm reamer, they'll just make one. They won't suffer and try to source one from Alibaba or whatever and hope that it comes out. They'll be like, oh yeah, we'll just make one.
Yeah, we'll just make the hoodie.
Yeah, the hoodie
optimized luxury 1mm reamer.
Except they probably wouldn't use 1mm pins. Knowing X-ray, they'd probably use like 2mm pins or something.
Or 1.737.
Whatever. Yeah, they wouldn't bend
like
all the damn time. That's for sure. So I mean, I that's actually part of why I've been so excited is I think that their ability to bring such a high level of quality to their products would translate so well to the smaller scales. And this is not shade on the other brands. The other brands are great. They've brought us a very long way based on what I've seen, and I hope that they continue to be successful. And frankly, I hope that they rise to the challenge if another brand enters the market and makes the quality better. And I hope that they feel like they've got to do the same in order to remain competitive. I mean, that's what Osmatics did it with X-Ray. Osmatics continued to make their stuff better. I mean, I don't know if they ever achieved quite X-Ray level of quality, but they got pretty damn close. And they didn't build so great early on, but they got a whole lot better as time went on. So, I think that they had to rise to the occasion. And I think
and it pushed both companies, right?
For
because
sure.
you had Osmatics that had the geometry nailed, right? And you had X-Ray that had the quality, and they had a competitive car, but it wasn't quite as good on the high grip. And then they started to realize, like, we've got to think about this fundamentally different. And then I think that, forced them to move in a different direction from a geometry perspective. But then also at the same time, you're competing against a car that has a 200-page glossy manual with every single detail in it. Like, you got to step up your game if you want to compete in that market, right? So I think that pushed Osmatics a little bit. I mean, obviously they ended up going away from manuals, but that's a whole nother thing, right? In general, but like generally it will help move both companies along, right? Or all the companies in this regard, right? Because there's a lot of players. I mean, if you think about Mini Z, you've got, obviously Kyosho, you've got GL, you've got Atomic, you got Reflex, you got RTRC, you've got all these different manufacturers out there, and they're all trying to reinvent the wheel, which is great. If you get, and even Associated, sorry, I forgot Associated, but like, even if you like add like a precision luxury brand to this, man, it really would have a big impact, is my thought.
And a lot of fanboys.
Yeah.
Can you imagine an X-Ray designed all-wheel drive 28 scale?
I've seen all the TCA fanboys from Associated already.
Yeah, I mean, that for sure is gonna happen. And I will tell you this, I don't think Associated expected the demand that they got on their RC28 car. Like, they just did not expect that car was going to sell out like in minutes. And I will tell you, I mean, I haven't talked to anybody over at Associated, but I'm pretty sure the TC28 pre-order went off a lot better than they thought it was going to. That's what my thought is.
And you've got to think that them coming out with that car had everything to do with the success of the two-wheel drive. Like, they probably, I mean, I kind of wonder, like, after the first batch sold out instantly and the second batch sold out instantly, if they weren't like, finding the first person that knew how to run, CAD software to design them
no doubt
as quickly as possible, because that thing kind of came out of nowhere, like fully formed, so they've obviously been at it for a while. So
yeah, I guess we'll see what these other manufacturers do. Time will tell. I'm interested to see what OneUp, if they enter the market for accessories and screws and things like that. They obviously could do it.
They have screws. I just pulled it up while we were talking.
They really?
Yeah,
they have 2 mil
upper titanium sets for RX28, GX28, and the FX28. And then I think I saw Associated, and there was another one on there.
Good for him.
Where's the love for RTRC? Come on.
Gold, blue, and silver.
Wow. Okay.
And their pricing's killer. It's like
Okay.
$20 for the anodized ones.
How many did you buy already, Johnny? That would
They're
be
sold
my
out
question.
now. I don't
Sold
know what to tell you.
out.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, he
You
bought
were
all
being
of them.
fun to a beach.
But if you need a set, I know a guy.
That's how it
Yeah.
goes.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's exciting times. I think 28 scale is in a really good position on a number of fronts. It's pretty exciting. I hope it continues to grow and thrive. And yeah, I'm glad I got on board when I did. I'm glad I didn't wait any longer.
You glad you listened to me?
Yeah, maybe for once.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I told Adam, I'm like, dude, this is everything you wanted in touring car, but in a smaller package. And he honestly did not believe me.
They drive like a touring car. That's what
They
I didn't expect.
do.
They feel just like a touring car. In fact, in some ways, I like them better because you don't have to drive them so straight. You can actually round off the corners, unlike a touring car and carpet where it wants to kick out if you try to do that. I love it. It's like the way they drive is so perfect for 10 scale on-road drivers. They have no idea what they're missing.
Yeah, I mean, like I've tried to explain it to some people at the track. Like there's some really fast off-road guys that I've been trying to talk into it. Sounds like one of the guys might be joining us for our big race, which is very exciting. It's very cool to see that if that happens, I'll let you guys know, but I don't think it's been confirmed yet, so I don't want to leak anything. But there is a guy that's very well known in our area, very fast, who's thinking about participating in the SRA race, so that'll be fun. And when those things start to happen, I'm telling you, when these people experience it the way that the rest of us have experienced it, it's kind of a light bulb moment, right? Because I was a total naysayer, and I was just like, oh, the worlds are coming to town. Maybe I should sign up for that, right? And then not have any idea what I was doing. And then I talked to Mike, and I'm like, Mike, you got a car I can use? And he's like, yeah. And then I drove it, and I'm like, wait a second, this isn't a stupid little toy. This is a race car that happens to be smaller. And I think that's the part that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, when you pull up YouTube or Facebook and you get spammed by one of those videos of like the slot car guys driving like super fast and like there's obviously like super into it and everything is overbuilt or whatever, and those tiny little cars are that big, you're not thinking to yourself, look at those stupid little toys. Look at these old dudes racing their stupid little toys. You're thinking like those dudes would whip my ass if I went out there, and I kind of want to go out there and find out, and I kind of want to try. I think that's the way you should look at 28 scale. It is not like little toys or whatever. They are like fully formed race cars, and they drive pretty good, and they're frustrating, and driving is harder than 10 scale for sure. You hit more stuff, but man, it's fun. It scratches every itch that I have for 10 scale driving.
There's also a cream for that.
Yeah, well,
yes, there is.
I have several different creams back there that I've been trying in my diff, so maybe I'll use one of those.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get half the ones you need. They're out of stock, unfortunately.
And how would you even know? Because there's no setup sheets.
What cream works best on this itch?
You could, yeah. It's like I'm like, what do I put in this gear diff? And they're like, well, you can put motor oil or you can put the Tamiya ceramic grease. And I'm like, those are very different things. How am I supposed to know?
What do you mean? People put stuff in their diffs? Was really the first thing, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah. Someone tell Randy in stock fluids. He'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, at least 1,000 air.
Yeah. No, it's very true.
I'll try to reach out to him. I'll try to tell him.
I think
Because I think there's I mean, he's not dumb. He knows what like this market needs. And I mean, you got other people like, Brandon Rose, who's kind of a big deal in the 8 scale market, hooking up with Marcus. And obviously he's going to run the associated cars because he's an associated driver. But I mean, I think that visibility, you got Mayfield coming out to the associated race. You got Rivkin talking about going, obviously Masami. I mean, these are big names in the hobby. And so I think if you can get that visibility and hopefully I'm pretty sure the coverage is going to be pretty good at this event. And so I think that will probably help. I actually saw. Did you guys see that video that somebody posted of that Indonesian track? Is a mini Z track in Indonesia.
Is that the one
And
that's like in the mall, or is that the one Jim posted a picture of in the layouts channel?
I don't know, but did you guys see the I don't know, but to answer your question, I don't know. But they have a video that somebody posted, and I'll try to maybe throw it in our Discord or something. But like it is like so good. It's like so well done. And like the cinematic aspects of it are great, and they got some good music on it. And I'm like, these are the kinds of things that we need in this market to kind of push it along, right? That visibility, that even if it's a reel that's only 20 seconds long, people are like, whoa, what is that? And how come I'm not doing that? Right? Because I don't think you always. Unfortunately, I think when people think mini Z, they literally think about Kyosho mini Zs, right? But there's so much more to what this 128 scale market is, right? And so I think if you can create that visibility and that buzz around it, I think it would be very powerful. And I think that's something that I would like to try to do for the SRA event that's coming to town. I think I want to try to find somebody that can do some filming for us and put together something, because there's got to be some good racing at this race. And hopefully people can, participate and have fun with it, and then we can publicize what we do here in town and make that more visible to everybody,
For sure. Yeah, I've never. Everyone that I've ever brought has come back a couple times, and sure, they might not stick around for forever, but everyone has to try 2 or 3 times just to make sure.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's pretty addictive. I will tell you, it's not what I thought. My
Yeah.
perception and my reality were two totally different things.
No,
It just took a while for people like, Adam and I to get on board. We're just a little bit slower. That's all.
Facts.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, exactly. And look at our results to show it right at the racetrack. Right, Johnny?
Hey, I broke this week. You guys didn't
okay.
even show up.
I was too scared, buddy. That's all it was. It wasn't that I had family obligations. It was that I was afraid to get beat by you again.
Well, at least we're admitting it.
That's the first step, right?
I tried to record my mains again, so those cars broke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much
Every
Tim
time I
puts
get
that
the
camera on
camera
his
out-
head. Yeah.
I'll bring my camera this week on Friday, and we will record some
We'll
racing.
both break.
You need to get one of those hat brim cameras, because I found when it's strapped to your head, you can't stop thinking about it, and you're worried about making mistakes and ruining the video and stuff. Like,
Speak for yourself, buddy. I drove great with that damn thing on my head. Doesn't make me look that weird. I guess I'm already look weird, so it's like it's fine. It's standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love one of those hat things, but then I'm afraid I'd see the clip, and then like that would be distracting. So I don't know. I thought it was fine the way it was.
Remember those glasses that Cyril wore?
Yeah.
We had that guy that was like a rep. We had this guy that came to our track, and he was like the rep for some like
What
startup
was that?
that made glasses that had cameras in them. I forget, but we had Mile High, and he got Josh Cyril to wear them and record a bunch of races with them, and it was pretty
Pretty
great.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I can almost remember the name. Anyway, yeah. Something we need something like that would be good. Like getting some good video of like some really competitive races in the different classes
Would be cool.
would be really cool, and I think would be a nice way to promote the hobby beyond just like the static camera that we have like on our Facebook feeds. It'd be nice to post videos on our Facebook of like, first person view of some of these races.
Well, luckily for you
Not-
guys, I have somebody that can do this for us. So I'm gonna tap on some shoulders and see if I can get them to show up.
And get Paul to make me spec tires while you're at it.
Okay, I'll get right on it. What kind of spec tire would you like?
Mediums and 10s. They're just blue.
Why don't we just make it mediums and 10s and call it a day?
Because you can't tech mediums and 10s.
I mean, I guess you couldn't, but yeah, that's a different issue, Tim.
I know.
I'm not ready to solve that one yet.
No. Alrighty.
I think that's probably enough. We went way overboard today.
But we took that extra week off, man.
Oh, that's true.
We had to get out of our systems.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'd miss you guys. It was fun to catch up with all of you again.
Oh, that's what happens when you have family game night.
Yeah, no, I like look, it's very rare for me to miss a race day. So like as many times as I go to the track every week, I'm actually surprised I get away with it as often as I do. So
No, it's because you guys, you all do more stuff. I'll do on road once a month, but that's about it. Y'all
yeah,
do
when
off-road,
when it's
on-road.
yeah, when it's off-road weeks, I got to be there to put the layout in. I got to run the races and do all this stuff. So it tends to be a lot. And then show up on, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in a week is it's a bit much. So every now and then I have to take a Friday off. It's just the way it works. But
Yep.
I will be out on July 3rd for racing. We have it off at work. So yeah. So we get
We're
to
gonna-
go.
We're gonna set up the track early.
We
Get
should.
there at like 8 a.m.
We
Yes.
should do that.
Early AM, we are.
All right, Jim, you make that happen and then we'll all meet you there, buddy.
He gets up too early. He gets that early bird breakfast.
No comment.
That's right.
Like I'll get there early, but not Jimmy early.
No, that's too early. I'm not even out of bed by the time Jimmy's been working for 3 hours.
That is correct.
That's true.
Yeah, probably.
God's the same way. But he's a mechanic. He has to get there before the sun's up. Because once the sun's up, it's 100 degrees in the shop.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
He needs to retire.
Working on it.
Okay, cool.
He's going to drive me around in the motorhome for all these races. I'm going to get one of these remote software engineering jobs.
You should, and then you could be like a professional racer and you can have a channel and have everybody follow you and you can take showers outside. And I watch all these videos of these things. Like all you have to do is buy a $150,000 Mercedes van. So it's not expensive or anything. And then you have to put like $50,000 worth of stoves and refrigerators and recyclers. And man, it's just so funny to me. It just makes me giggle.
So ridiculous.
They're like, look at this is where I live now. I'm like, do you live in a luxury moving condominium? Like, what are we talking about?
I'm dedicated enough to spend 3 hours every other Sunday editing you buffoons.
Yeah, sorry about your luck, bud. This was your idea, though.
Yeah,
so-
you signed up for that. Don't blame
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Because if I didn't, one of y'all would have done it and it'd been worse.
It's
What? Hey, you know what? You got that. You take
Yeah.
that.
It's all you.
Yeah. All right,
I did-
guys.
I linked that video. I found it was Pivot Head, by the way.
Oh my God, that out of nowhere, that friggin' term. Yes, that's what
Yes.
it was.
Yeah, I found it on YouTube and I linked the video of it. Actually, I got to say, Cyril drove pretty damn well in that race. I mean, he's like inch off of every board for 5 minutes. So yeah, I think that's the one where he won like 5 out of 6 classes or something.
Yeah,
that
he
year.
kind of crushed that year, I think.
Yeah. Didn't he win every class?
Pretty
Yeah, I
much.
think
Just
so.
I mean, and you can see why. I mean, he's just literally an inch off of every board, like every single lap. It's kind of ridiculous. So
Pivot.
All right.
Wow.
We'll
That
go
was a blast
around
from
the
the past.
room.
Yeah? What are we doing around the room about this time, Timmy?
Let's see. Adam, do you want 3,500 to go faster?
oh, you're trying to bait me into responding to that other podcast, aren't you? I like those guys and I watch their pod and I'm honored that they watch ours. I don't want it to go faster. I think 3,500 is a pretty good speed. I did like the rip of the hobby wing motors out of the corners, and I do plan on trying a torque rotor this week to see if I can reproduce some of that. And I actually asked those guys on their pod about that. I thought that the response, basically their response to us was basically like run mod if you want more rip. And I feel like if your conversation ends in run mod, or your point that you're trying to make ends in run mod, then you've maybe missed the nuance a little bit. I think there's a lot of fun in having a car that's got some torque and some rip, but isn't blistering fast and corner to corner and impossible to drive. So I don't want it to go faster. I do miss the way the 3500s felt, but I'm led to believe, based on what they said, that it's better for the overall health of the class to go to these lower torque motors. So I guess that's where we're at.
I think slowing down 3500 was the right move. I don't like the way they did it, because I think if you go back to the way it was in the rules, we're going to tech with a sensor wire. That slows the class back down, and you use a motor you're not torturing to make fast. Because the 30-degree end bell, it's like, yep, if your track is too small, you're burning up the 40-degree or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's problems there that needed to be addressed that are a little bit above my pay grade at this point. Like, I don't fully grok all the challenges and the nuances and why things are the way they are. So I'll defer to those guys. I think they seem to know, have a lot of feelings about it. So yeah, no, I don't think 3500 needs to go faster. I do wish it was. I do wish it was still torquey. I don't think it actually got slower. I think it's faster now than it was with the hobby wing. So I'm not sure.
That's what I was going to ask. Has
Yeah.
anyone looked to see if we're at with these 40 degrees of timing that everyone's putting into their motors now out of the factory? Is it any slower?
It feels faster, like in a straight line. It does not feel faster out of the corners, which is like anybody that's ever driven like the old Can-Ams in 10 scale or whatever, like a powerful motor that's intentionally under geared can really have like a very satisfying power band, because you get like that low end torque, but it isn't so punched in the infield that it's hard to drive. I think that's actually like for me my preferred feel, but I'm willing to admit that maybe I'm biased and what's good for me isn't good for the greater good. So I'll defer to those guys. They have a lot of skin in the game. They seem to know a lot about this. So I'll just say I think 3500 is probably fine right now, and I'll keep running it. But I don't think it needs to go faster.
No, I don't either. It's I think it is faster now, but the straight was so long in Vegas, mod cars got a bigger gap. So it looks like 3500 is slower, when really that was just a good mod track. What was it, 44, 46 tile straight?
44.
Anyone remember? 44? Big straight. All right, Art. Any changes to your exotic tire game this week?
Nope. The only thing I'm doing different is I'm putting a Hobby Wing 16 mil can 3500 in my car, and you guys can DQ me every round if you want. I don't care, but I do want to try to see what the feel of the car is as it compares to, the other motors I've been running. So I think it's been something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm just gonna do it this week, and we'll see how it works out.
Matt was running a ball diff in box stock, so we were very serious about tech at 5280.
Yeah, sick. So you're gonna tear my motor down and do all that stuff. Johnny's gonna do that, right? Because he's got plenty of extra time to not have to fix his
He's gonna
cars or
caliper
anything.
your rotor.
All I can say is your motor isn't why you're beating me. Like I just don't have like. I'd be curious to see what you think of running the Hobby Wing 16 mil can versus whatever you've been running the MWX or whatever. And if you think there's a big difference, I'm also curious to see what the times are.
That's what I'm curious about too.
Because I don't think it was slowed down at all by going to the 15 mil cans. Like Tim said, I think it would have slowed down if we still had, pre 40 degrees of timing, it would have slowed it down. But I don't see what's the point in outlawing a 60 mil can versus a 15 mil can if they're all the same speeds.
Well, I'll tell you this, the Silver Horse motor that I happen to be running right now comes off a whole lot hotter than anything I remember. That's the only thing I know for sure.
They all do.
They all do.
Yeah.
I mean, should we be going to open gearing and open timing and not dealing with any of this?
No.
No?
Open timing should be modified only.
Let me rephrase that. Open timing on the can.
Yeah, but you can't really adjust the can. I mean,
No, you can the hobby.
You
wing.
can on a 16
little
mil
bit.
can.
Well, Christian's
little
coming
bit.
out with new end bells for his motors.
Yeah, they're 30 degrees instead of 40.
I mean, he might need to come out with a 42 so he can be as fast as the Silver Horse, because all my reflex motors are 39 and my Silver Horses are all 42. So I know they're supposed to be the same motor, but
they're not.
Somebody didn't get the memo, I think, on the final can design. So.
They're not. I mean, Adam brought his Silver Horse motor out and whooped my ass with it. And now I'm like, what is happening right now? And I went and bought one, and then
God.
I hate this game, dude. I hate it. I hate this whole. Yeah. I'm sure you're loving the victory over there, but no.
I hate it too. Because I remember when we were all just running hobby wings, like it was 3 weeks ago.
It was so easy, bro. It was so easy.
And now I've got a MWX and a Silver Horse and a Reflex, and I probably am going to have to order another MWX because a new one's coming out. Tell me again how this is better.
But the racing is closer at 3 races a year. This is better. Oh, that came out worse than I intended.
And just to pile on, it confuses the shit out of all of our locals because they don't know what motor to buy. It's such a pain in the ass.
And when someone that's been out of the game, we dealt with this. They've been out for about a year, and my V4 PN 2500 just getting their ass handed to them because they're short 30 degrees of timing.
Yeah,
it's hard to
it's not good.
By the way, you need a $70 motor to come back. Otherwise, don't bother.
Yeah, that's a way to keep people around. Yeah, I don't think so.
Not my favorite.
No. I mean, if you're not paying for motors, it's fine, dude. It's no big deal. You just, hey, I need a motor. Give me a motor. Cool. Okay, I got a motor now. But if you're buying these things, like, I mean, I
don't want to do the 2026, the 2027. I don't buy Madden anymore for the same goddamn reason.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, a whole lot of motors have been sold in the last 2 months.
Which is the point, right?
You suck if you don't have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't.
Speaking of which, I do need to order some more of those new MWX motors. Apparently.
According to his analysis, his are all 45.
Yeah, well,
45.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what. Let me know. I need to put
the arms race, baby. It's what we signed up for.
I guess I'm glad I have one on pre-order.
I'm gonna go pre-order too.
I'm an idiot too.
Christian said you should just run mod. Come on, I'm bored.
Maybe we should all put our hobby wings back in.
That's what we should do. Tim said it the best. That's what it was before. It was basically 3,500 with a spec motor. Everyone ran the hobby wing.
It was easy.
It was whether or not you were grimy enough to shave the rotor or punch a hole in the can. That was the shady part.
But we can easily spot that, right? Like that's happening.
Yeah, you just caliper.
It's also free.
Thing. Well, that was the thing is you could. Hey, you've never gone to a big race before. Bring me your hobby wing. In 15 minutes of my time, they're going to Wolfram with the most competitive motor on the market for $50 and not $70.
Yeah. No, I know.
Well, this is you sign up for stock, you play the game, but the game sure did get complicated and expensive in the last couple of months. So, I mean, maybe it's for the greater good, but
racing is closer at 3 races a year. At 5280, you can run a hobby wing.
Yeah, we don't.
High tech, so close. That's why Jimmy's like a second faster than everyone else in stock. Jimmy, How much boost were you running in Blinky last week?
Hey, that 14 tooth pinion makes a difference.
Oh shit!
Oh, PN rules, baby.
I love it.
Now I'm gonna just stick with 2500. I enjoy it. Motor game
It's
too,
a great.
but not as
It's a
bad.
great speed, though. Honestly,
It
it
is.
really is. Alexan
Alexa
2500 cast, money, bro, money.
I might retire from mod.
Oh boy!
Retire.
I got to drop, fellas.
All right,
Have a great
See ya,
night,
Adam.
Adam.
catch you on the flip
Later,
side,
Adam.
bud.
All right, Johnny. I don't have anything. What's up?
All right. Nothing, Ben. We'll see you guys on
No.
Friday.
No.
Oh,
What?
you got some?
I'm gonna ask you a question. Why are you braking so much in racing? This is so unusual, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying a lot of different things. Got new chassis. I'm just doing a lot of different stuff before the
Okay.
big race comes. So
And I'm going through the same thing because it's our only time to experiment, and sometimes you're just wrong,
yep.
and it's better to pull the car.
Guys, just do me a favor. Before the race, don't glue any tires. Just promise me that's what you'll do. Johnny, come on, bro.
I learned my lesson.
You did?
I did. After Worlds, when I spent Saturday fucking gluing tires,
Timmy.
and then they were all wrong.
Timmy.
Yo.
I noticed you didn't respond.
It takes me about 30 seconds to glue a set of tires now. It don't bother me.
Hey, we should talk about that at some point.
When we're ready. When we're ready.
All right. We're not ready yet. Okay.
It-
I got
it's
a
not
topic for
production ready.
I got a topic coming up too eventually. So I'll share when we get there. But
Heck yeah.
there's some
I'm
good
excited.
stuff. There's some good stuff coming on that I've been working on in the background. So it should be good.
No, I'm pumped.
How's the t-shirt coming?
I
Only
don't
got
know.
a couple weeks, man.
I'll ask the designer. I'll try to. We'll try to knock it out in the next day or two. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. I'll share it with you. Who's getting the t-shirts made?
Well, I thought you were.
No, I said I was do the design.
Well, Jimmy, don't you have the point
No,
of
we can use the
contact?
same place we used last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
as
they
long
did
as
a
we
good
have-
job.
As long as we have a
Yeah, we-
contact. Yeah.
Yeah, we used them quite a few years before. We had t-shirts. Mario had t-shirts made.
Oh, okay. It's that place,
place
down
over
off
by
of
his.
over in Wheat Ridge over there.
Yeah.
Okay, I know which place you're talking about. Okay.
Do you remember the PN regional shirts from 24?
The
23?
blue ones,
The blue ones?
those were awesome. I think it's the same place.
Get those shirts.
Yeah.
I will
No,
cover
that's a
the
different
extra.
place.
Was it? Get those because I wear that shirt all the time too. I agree.
And it's the
Tim.
only one that's not worn out. I
What-
wear that blue.
What is it? Do you know who makes it? Is it a? It should say on it.
It's a Gildan, but
Oh,
it's
it is?
not the cheap, shitty
Okay.
Gildan. It's
No,
just
Corey had them done, and I told him I wanted a better shirt. It cost a little bit more, but it was
I'll
a better
cover it.
shirt.
I'll
Yeah.
take my funds that this podcast generates.
Oh, all that money,
All
huh?
that fun.
We have
Oh,
sold
We need a
Marshall fund,
$0
too.
of advertising space.
Yeah.
Oh
We need a
man.
Marshall
You're gonna need a
fund.
lot more videos of Jimmy talking about wheel nuts
Motor
and
screws.
motor screws. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we generate the
screws.
real money.
It is still our best viewed. Like I check every week, and it's Jimmy's motor screws.
That's the
Yeah,
saddest thing I've
that
ever
cost
heard
me.
in my life.
I think people just like watching failure. So I'm gonna
That's
make
what
some
it
like
is.
epic.
That's the reason. Yeah, that's the
We're
reason
gonna-
why all those girl fail videos have like
Yeah.
40 million views. Dude.
Adam's like, we need to film some close racing, and I was like, big ass Rex, big,
Big Rex,
modified.
cars being
You're not wrong, dude.
Someone's going the wrong way down the straight. That's what gets clicks, baby.
People Ken falling in the marshalling or whatever his name
Marshall
is.
trips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting hit by a car.
Cars getting
Yeah,
stepped on. Oh yeah.
that's where the
I
money
know.
gets made right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
Adam can have the serious channel.
Yeah, we'll have the not so serious channel. All right, guys, I'm done.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you July 12th with our next special guest. It's a good one. Stay
Ooh.
tuned.
Sick.
Yeah!